Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's indeed a pleasure to get back in touch with the meeting again. I already explained to our partner Ms. Ling Yao some rules about this meeting, and the way we are going to proceed with this meeting is that myself and our Chinese friend Ling, we would moderate it in turns, and when I finish, I hand over to Ling, and then when she finishes with his team, she hand over back to us. And between when we finish talking, we should say over, which means that we have finished what we want to say, and we hand over to the other person and other side. And when they finish, they also say over, so that we understand that they have finished what they want to say, and then we would take it over. And then also, please keep your please the person who is talking, he only keep his audio open. The rest are requested to close, so that we have a clarity of communication and clarity of voice. And same way with the camera also. Maybe at the end we would request for a meeting, and at that time you can open your camera also, or maybe if the person who is speaking, he can open his or her camera. Right in front of your screen is the focus of the discussion of this meeting, which is of this meeting. But before that, I think it would be good that we self-introduce ourselves very briefly, all of us one by one. So I start with the SDPI side first. Dr. Bakar will introduce himself, and then that will be followed by Rabab and also by Mubin. So over to you, Dr. Bakar.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Hi, everyone. This is Bakar Ahmed. I'm a Joint Executive Director at SDPI. Very look forward to this meeting and today's discussion. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, it's Rabab Sayed from SDPI. I'm a project assistant.
Over to you, Mubin.
Hello, everyone. This is Mubin Ali. I'm a project assistant from SDPI. Looking forward to this meeting.
Over to Adnan.
Hello, I'm Adnan Hassan, working in SDPI as IT coordinator, and there for your IT support.
Over to Umair.
Hello, I'm Umair Mahmood, working in the IT department at SDPI.
Yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Ling, for the self-introduction of yourself and your colleagues.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Gao Xiaoyi, Director of International Cooperation. Happy to happy to join this meeting.
Okay, next one will be Wang Jiajia. He has been to Pakistan last year. Jiajia.
Hello everyone. I'm Wang Jiajia from All China Environmental Foundation.
Next one, Ni Yao. Okay,
hello everyone. I'm Yao Ni, Deputy Director of the International Cooperation Department.
And the last one, myself, Ling, from the Department of International Cooperation and Exchanges. Yeah. Over.
Okay.
Mahmoud.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. And I request my colleague, Dr. Bakar, kindly please, Dr. Bakar sir, for your welcome comment and a very brief introduction of the Sustainable Development Policy Institute. Over to you, Dr. Bakar.
Thank you, Dr. Khwaja. Thank you, colleagues. It's a pleasure to, of course, introduce SDPI and its team. We are now almost 28-year-old institute working on 4 main areas of sustainable development, which include climate change, environment, food security, economic growth, governance, and peace. We are much encouraged by this partnership over here. Of course, SDPI attaches very strong importance to our collaboration with China and partner institutes in China. We have had great success in establishing the China Study Center in SDPI, which sort of acts as a one window on areas around green development, community resilience, disaster risk reduction, and renewable energy and related aspects of cooperation between China and Pakistan. I think it's also important to take lead from at some level the success that has happened in the background of BRI. Belt and Road Initiative has certainly expanded ties across the country, and this meeting in the backdrop of those expanded ties is certainly a very welcome initiative. I think going forward, the purpose of our collaboration should remain very broad-based as the two countries enjoy in-depth relations on various themes, including China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, energy, climate change, and of course, the related governance aspects within the infrastructure. We also have to remain, of course, solution-oriented. So many of those issues which are evolving, which could sort of prove to be short-term or temporary hurdles in taking these cooperation initiatives forward. For example, the current pandemic or the lockdowns. I think we have to take these into account and then sort of remain solution-oriented on how do we cooperate and find solutions around these problems going forward. It is, of course, heartening to see that China is leading the environmental conservation and climate negotiations, and of course, their government of China is very keen to take forward the sentiment and objectives of the Paris Agreement forward, which is indeed very heartening to see the Chinese leadership taking ownership of this agenda. I think just to briefly also touch upon the fact that China-Pakistan Economic Corridor was recently complemented by the second phase of free trade agreement, which both countries have signed. And this free trade agreement not only liberalizes more tariff lines for both countries, but also there is provision for environmental goods. And this is I think very timely, given that both China and Pakistan attach importance to environment as well as pursuit of renewable energy in the region. I think going forward, as our industries repurpose themselves in times of COVID, it'll also be important to see how the industrial capacity can be increased to sort of convert or repurpose themselves towards green and clean technology. And this is where, of course, we would like to learn from our Chinese colleagues as well. I see that probably out of all the sustainable development goals, the goals which are given least importance at the moment are around life over land, life under the sea, for example. And I think these SDGs, which perhaps have taken a backstage or not received the kind of priority that they have received, are probably very crucial, very important for fighting climate change, stopping toxic pollution, ensuring food security, and of course defending the oceans. In the second phase of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, we are seeing much interest in energy infrastructure projects, the development of special economic zones, and of course the refurbishing of ports, the seaports and land ports for trading. Now, it is important that in all these three areas, the concepts of green development must be put in place, and I'm sure that teams on both sides can collaborate on this objective going forward. So I'll probably stop over here for now, and of course welcome all of you once again to this meeting. It's back to you, Dr. Khwaja.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dr. Waqar Sahib. Over to you, Ling Ling, for the welcome remarks from your side and a brief introduction of your organization by Geo Zial. Please, over to you.
Okay, let's Xiaoyi to give you a brief introduction about what ACEF does.
Okay, hello, Mahmoud and other experts of SDPI. Firstly, I would like to extend my appreciation to you all for your hospitality and the arrangement during our visit in Pakistan. Actually, I have heard from my colleagues Jaja and other friends from GP that they are warmly greeted there, and we have met many experts there, got a lot of information and experience sharing. Actually, maybe Jaja has given you a brief introduction already, but now I want to introduce a little bit. ACEF is an environmental NGO established in 2005. We was granted UN ECOSOC consultative status and UNEP special consultant status, and also the observer status of UNFCCC, also the consultative status of UNEP. Actually, we have a very good international cooperation with the UN agencies. Also, in China, we have good relationship with the governments from the government officials, and also as we are an NGO, we work to promote the environmental protection and the sustainable development home and abroad. Our main working field include some research and also provide the policy recommendations to the governments and to promote the environmental governance in China. Also, we carry out a series of public interest activities to raise the awareness of the general public. Maybe Jaja has mentioned that one of the feature of our federation is that we provide legal aid to the pollution victims, and also we promote the establishment and improvement of the system of environmental interest litigation. Our department, international cooperation, we carry out a series of activities with the aim to promote the realization of SDGs, mainly focusing on climate change, food security, and food waste reduction, and also the conservation of biodiversity and the environmental governance. So we have some relationship cooperation with the EU and also some international foundations. That's the basic information about our federation. I think maybe I just introduce this and continue with our project. Over. Thank you.
For this part.
Yeah, thanks so very much. And now I'd like to invite my colleagues Rubab and Mubin, if they want to add something to the introduction which was kindly made by Dr. Wakar. If there is nothing, then we can go back to Ling Ling, so that if any member of her side like to add more to what the introduction has already been given to ACEF. So over to you, Rubab. Do you have anything to add?
Sir, thank you so much. I really doubt if anything is left by Dr. Wakar. It's a complete introduction, so we should move forward, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Mubin, anything you wish to add?
Thank you. I think I agree with Ms. Rubab. Everything is said by Dr. Wakar.
Okay, all right. Ling Ling, over to you. If any member of your team wish to add something which has been already said by way of introduction at your institution. Over to you, Ling Ling.
Okay, Mahmoud, thanks. I think, yes, as for the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, we see the great importance than ever of cooperation between the NGOs and the think tanks. that we could maybe work more closely with each other to consider the relationship for this time very carefully. Consider the relationship between the human activities and the climate change and the ecosystem laws and the biodiversity laws. So I think, yeah, that's why we are here to have this conversation. Yeah, yeah. So that's all. Now over, Mahmoud. Jaja, you want to add more? Jaja, no, and no more comments from Jaja. Over, Mahmoud.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, so we move to the next agenda item, and that is a brief about the last year AF, All China Environment Federation visit, and also that of the Greenpeace. Actually, our today discussion focus is already on the screen, but I think what I have lately observed is that among Chinese think tank and NGO, I mean, there is a lot of synergy of concerns about this CPEC, and also the ecological aspect of it, and the social aspect of it, the environmental aspect of it. For instance, if we read the focus of discussion today, it says actual status, local needs and expectations to facilitate green development along belt and road could be from the perspectives of either of government, enterprises, local communities, think tank, and NGOs, so on and so forth. So for instance, last year I had a meeting with the Innovation Hub, and they also have more or less same concern. And earlier this year, we had a discussion, initial discussion with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and more or less they also have the same sort of concern. And also during our discussions with the Chinese visiting team last year. So I think it would be very helpful to both the side, the ACEF and the SDPI, if we have a very brief a sort of recap of the last year meeting by the Chinese Academy. So as we arrange, first I would be making a very small presentation, and then that would be followed by the ACF side. They would like to give their views very briefly, personal views, informal views, both on the visit as well as the report which has come out of that visit. But as it is in Chinese, so we at SDPI end need some help from you to please share with us what are the important aspects of that report, or what are the findings of that report, which you feel comfortable to share with us, and it's convenient for you to share with us. So I start with my presentation. It's very brief one, and I would go through it quickly. Yes, Adnan, next, please. You are all very welcome. Next one. This is just regarding our SDPI. I mean, as Dr. Bakar said to you in the early, we are 27-year-old now. It started in 1992, and at the left bottom is our staff. So this is not the very recent picture, but it gives you an idea that we are about over 50 to 60 colleagues work in SDPI. Most of the staff is research staff and also some support staff. In the right corner is some of the distinctions which we have received from different organizations in different countries. Next one, please. Now, this is again a bit more about the Sustainable Development Policy Institute. I would not take much time on it. I think already I shared the SDPI introduction video with you, and also the video of the Chinese team visit last year. And also Dr. Bakar has already added a brief on it. But basically, I mean, we very much look forward to interaction and partnership and joint work with organizations, like-minded organizations in different part of the world, and more so with our very great friend China. Why not? And in the green text are the different areas on which we are working. Next one. No, this is the focus of our today's discussion. But as I said, that this is very similar to the focus which the Chinese visiting team has last year. Next one. Next, please. Yeah, for instance, this was the objective of the visits, and if you look at that, it's very similar. I mean, I see the same concerns with so many partners and organizations in China. Green Belt and Road Initiative, Environmental Leadership Project. That was a project which to promote green BRI policy and practices, and I'll promote communication between Chinese overseas projects and local stakeholders. Also, there is a to facilitate the environment social governance. The visiting team also wanted face-to-face meeting with stakeholders. They had plenty of that. And then that visit was on the request of ACEF and Greenpeace that SDPI hosted. And then these were the different areas which were discussed during the last year, Chinese team visit. Which also included the Chinese overseas investment and environmental issues, air pollution, sustainable development goal. Now, during ACEF and GPA discussion with SDPI researchers, both look for SDPI interest in exploring further collaboration and joint research activities program follow up to that visit. And again, there was this desire and expressed by both the sides for the follow up for more work together. Next one. That was the team members last year, and their visit was for 5 days in the last week of June. And during this visit, they have a discussion with 13 SDPI research and advocacy colleagues, which also included 6 PhDs, and we had 3 different subsections, subgroups in which this discussion took place. Next one. Now, these are some of SDPI observations and recommendations vis-a-vis that last year visit. Thanks to Rubab, our ever hardworking colleague, this information I took from the meeting minutes which she prepared, and according to our minutes record from the SDPI side, there were 29 observation and comments on that different area, which I already shared with you and also are given in the green text. And then we also came out with the 8 very specific recommendations on these areas like Pakistan-China relation, coal-fired plants, perception of Chinese overseas investment, trade concern, problems in achieving SDGs, the bottlenecks of renewable energy options, environmental impact assessment, and similar other issues. And then earlier this year, we had a discussion with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences who wanted to collaborate with SDPI. And then my SDPI colleague, very kindly led by Dr. Wakar, gave us 29 CPEC-specific thematic research areas and project proposal for joint work and collaboration. And again, I mean, these also proposals. They all came from 4 PhD colleagues, and they were led by Dr. Bakar. And these specific research areas, project proposals, and joint work under the CPEC are the economic growth, sustainable industrial development, chemicals and public health, social cultural impact and of CPEC, and then special economic zones, and also to me, the most importantly, the environmental impact assessment of CPEC, infrastructure and energy projects. Next one, please. Next one, please. Now, this I'm just showing to share the sort of support which we need and the difficulties which researchers, particularly in SDPI and in general in Pakistan, they face, and that is the lack of information. For instance, we initiated this environment impact assessment of a part of one of the project activity under CPEC, which is the Northern Road Route. And this red line, it shows the northern section of this road route. Now, this is from Haripur Hazara in our KPK province, and this road is expected to go right up to Kashgar in China. China. Now we carried out and it goes through Pakistan, it goes through the Hazara district, also goes through the Gilgit Pakistan, but then we can work only up to Khunjrab. Now Khunjrab, as you would be knowing, is the border spot between Pakistan and China. Now, but then, I mean, this road is from Khunjrat up to Kashgar. No, that environment impact assessment we couldn't do. In my last visit in Beijing, Ling Ling was very kind to take me to a bookshop, from where at least I was able to get a map in English of this promise. But these are the difficulties. I mean, you can't do environment impact assessment research studies if you don't have the information. Now, most of the information is in English, and so we have done this Pakistan part of this EIA of this northern section, but we could we have very brief information about the rest of the this road, which is from Punjab to Kashgar, because we lack information, and that's where the ACEF help can come. Organization like ACEF, they can do giant work like the environment impact assessment of CPEC infrastructure projects and also energy projects jointly, and they can do the Chinese part of the work, and we can do the Pakistani part of the work, and in this way, a collective information, a complete research study that can be done jointly by the SDPI and also by the ACEF. So this is just one example to show how a joint work is needed, and the difficulties, and how the two sides can help each other. Next one. I already shared this presentation with you, the publication with you. The next one, please. Now, then this is way forward, and this is from the our of the last Chinese visit meeting, visit discussions, and also from our discussion which we have with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences early this year, and also last week with the Innovation Hub. Basically, I mean, to me, the most important thing is connectivity. I think we need connectivity, and for better connectivity, we need to enhance communication, and I would talk about that later on. For instance, I mean, these 1 and 2, I know these are Chinese team who are working on environment impact assessment of a Chinese project, but I couldn't connect. I couldn't contact them. I tried my best, but I couldn't contact them so that I can share my work with them, and if they could help me, and so on and so forth. Similarly, we need Chinese. We need interaction with universities in Xinjiang province and Beijing province. Then also with Chinese Academy of Sciences, and that was one of the observation of the visit. But as I keep mentioning, earlier this year we were successful having some contact with the Academy of Social Sciences, but we need such contact more and more, and that is where the ACEF, they can help us. And then also, and that's as I said, facilitation towards SDPI Chinese researchers, interactions, exploring of synergies and interest for joint research, collaborative projects and activity. Adnan, जरा इसको move करें. Can you please move a little up so that I can so that the participant can see the rest of the part of slide? Can this slide move up? Oh, okay, no, go back. Also, I mean, lastly, as I said, that I mean, this connectivity, and to enhance the connectivity, we need Chinese English translation support. I mean, how that can come, how we can help each other in that respect, and then also the information directly, because we really don't know who are the researchers, what projects they are doing, who are the organizations which have industry, which has trade interest, or they want to promote their product. For instance, there is a transition coming up in Pakistan, where Pakistan is trying to go to the renewable energy, like the solar energy and the wind energy, and that's where the help from our Chinese trader and businessmen and researchers can come. But again, I mean, the connectivity is needed. Whom to connect? For instance, today also, I mean, your respectable Secretary General couldn't join us because I think because of lack of interpretation facility. I mean, we don't have in SDPI, and I don't know how it could be possible at your side. But then for this collaboration to go ahead, we need to enhance this connectivity, and we need to enhance this language barrier between us. And for that, we need we need to promote and facilitate the information directory and the interpretation and English Chinese translation. Next one. That's the last one, last slide. This is more about the way forward. And this idea, this came from my colleague, Dr. Bakar, and he said that, I mean, organization in China and organization in Pakistan, they can develop joint proposal for funding, because to the same organization, international organization, are donor who are in China and also in Pakistan. So to the same donor which is in China and which is also in Pakistan, we can submit the proposal for funding, and then SDPI can always be the focal organization to facilitate your activity, your visit, your research project, so and so, from whatever we can support from SDPI. Dr. Bakar already mentioned we are promoting the Chinese Study Center at SDPI, and also, I mean, we very much look forward to your participation in our sustainable development conferences, and we would like the ACEF to come up with a panel, with a technical session of on issue of their choice with us. And also, we need to improve interlinks linked through resource centers and libraries, capacity building, and also the website interaction between ACEF and SDPI, and also whatever possible training support can each side give. But then most of all, again, the information directly. I mean, who are the people on both sides for collaboration, for joining together, for connectivity? And then lastly, I mean, we need again, I mean, both the ACEF and SDPI, they can help for activities such as demonstration projects from China and industrial matching activities in the two countries. Maybe same product on which two industries are working in China and in Pakistan. Maybe we can connect the two together for the benefit of both of them. Similarly, activities like industry matchmaking and an industrialization summit. I mean, we can have a summit of both the industries in Pakistan and industries in China. This summit can be in Beijing, or it can be in Islamabad, or it can be at both places by turn. But again, I mean, this sort of connectivity is very, very much needed. Next one. Adnan, next, please. Yeah, well, thank you so much. This is just the 3 groups meeting which we have, and I think Gia will be happy to to see himself and having discussion and pictures with us. Thank you so much. I stop here, but before I hand over to you, Ling, my Dr. Bakar and my colleagues, they want to add anything to it. Over to you, Dr. Bakar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khwaja. This was a very comprehensive presentation. I don't have any further inputs. Thank you very much.
Rubab, you please wish to add anything? Rubab, over to you.
Yes, sir. It was really optimistically productive discussion from your side, and of course, China and Pakistan makes a perfect team for working together for common cause. So, looking forward to their response to it.
Thank you, Rubab. Over to you, Mubin. Anything you want to add?
I think, Dr. Saab, you covered it very comprehensively. I have no more further inputs to add.
Thank you, Mubin. Over to you, Ling. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mahmoud, for giving us such a detailed introduction and review of the visit, and as well as your quite detailed kind of proposal for our future cooperation or joint activities. Yeah, and I think before maybe we respond to all your proposals in a detailed way, let's invite Ms. Gao Xiaoyi to give you a kind of recap of the visit. It's okay?
It's okay. Just brief review of the report. Actually, it's a pity that I didn't went to Pakistan to join in this on-site visit, but my partner colleagues from GP mainly responsible for writing this report. I can got the feeling that thanks to your support, they get very useful information from you and other experts of SDPI, and it gives us the very important, very good opportunity to get this in-depth perception of the energy situation in Pakistan. And actually, we want to know the performance of Chinese enterprises overseas along Belt and Road. And because it's really so challenging for the NGO to conduct on-site visit in many power plant, but we actually managed to get in the plant, Sahiwal energy plant, and conduct the evaluation with a reference to the international and internal and other existing standard to see whether or not they have done a good job in promote the ESG. And also from other stakeholders in Pakistan, we know that there may be some room for NGOs to promote. For example, maybe we can work together to promote, to get the environmental ministry from both sides into the decision-making process of this kind of project. And also we also see that there is lack of effective communication between the company and the local residents, even though the company has done a lot and try to make efforts to promote the local social wear of local residents. Maybe they lack the effective communication. That's what I think the NGO could play more role in the future. Also, we think that we come to a consensus that it is a trend for both countries to invest in more clean energy power plant in the future. And but what we can see that it is challenging to use the renewable energy facility in Pakistan. There are many technical challenges exist. So that's what we proposed the government to think whether we can promote more technical support or capacity building in this field. Also, we promote the international financial institutions or the home institutions to think to invest more clean power plant in the future. That's what we think. Also, we found that there is not an existing evaluation criteria for China. We only use the international criteria. So we, as one of the biggest environmental NGO in China, we would like to work in this direction, maybe together with SDPI to develop this kind of evaluation criteria in the future. I think, Mahmoud, you have provided us a very comprehensive and actionable plan for our future. We see a big potential for us to work together more, and we would like to to review each proposal, proposal you mentioned, and then discuss whether or not we can promote the mutual cooperation. Thank you.
We have no further comments for this part. And how about your side?
Okay, thank you, Ling, and thanks so much for the feedback and for the brief about the thoughts which you have about this visit which we had last year, and also thank you for understanding and appreciating and showing concern to the few proposals which Dr. Bakar suggested and which I also suggested in my presentation. Before we go to the next agenda item, I have just one small question. I mean, your colleague Geo was mentioning international criteria. I mean, I couldn't get it. I mean, and then she was saying that you need international criteria for China. With regard to what? I mean, what sort of about? I mean, I don't understand the issue or for which an international criteria is needed. If she could kindly clarify it a bit further. Thank you. Please, hello.
Dear
Yeah,
Mahmoud.
I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to clarify or confirm your question. So you are asking about the international criteria that Xiaoyi has mentioned.
Yeah. I don't know if I understood clearly. She said that China is following international criteria and need to develop China's own criteria standard. I mean, I could understand that one. That's why I requested for clarity. Is it about the project activity? Is it about the development program, development projects? Is it CPEC activity? I mean, what she's referring for which an international criteria is needed or is not there, and the China does not have that. I don't know if I make my question clear.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I mean, if we want to evaluate the performance of enterprises in the area of environment, social development, and governance, we use the existing international framework, international criteria, which is as is common used in now. But in China, maybe we should based on we should develop our own framework, analyze the framework to conduct this kind of evaluation based on the real situation. So that's my my point. I know that for the international finance institutions, they have adopted a set of standard or criteria. So that's why in our project we select some of the indicators from it to conduct the evaluation. Maybe for an ACEF, what we want to do is develop a set of evaluation criteria which fit the which can 对标 which 对标 which is comparing to the international criteria, but also which is practice which is practical 就是对，它现在只有国际标准，不是，它就是to evaluate the ESG, we have three pillars from the perspective of environmental protection, from the perspective of social, and from the perspective of governance, to see whether or not the enterprises had done a good job. So that is a set of comprehensive evaluation indicators. 3个维度：环境、社会和治理。So Mahmoud, what do you think? 他们可能不做这个。
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, Yeah, it's very clear. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I have understood very clearly what she was referring to by way of international criteria. And I absolutely, and I'm sure my colleagues, they would absolutely agree with her. I mean, even in Pakistan, I mean, though we have developed some of our own criteria for certain projects and for certain activities, and we have also developed our own tools like environmental tools. But again, I mean, we don't have we don't have these criteria for everything, and we also on times look at the international criteria and standards and procedures for the activity. And I think myself and I think my colleague will absolutely agree with you that yes, we need to have on. I mean, for instance, the indicators. I mean, for different in different areas. I mean, instead of following international indicators, why not to develop our own indicators, which would be more real, because they would be in accordance with our own situation, with our own ground realities, with our own ground conditions. So I mean, international criteria could be very fine, but then it may not necessarily be 100% useful when applied in a developing country or in an Asian country or country like China and Pakistan. So thank you so much. I absolutely, it's clear to me, and I agree with it also. Now, before I go to the next agenda item, I wish to give opportunity to my colleagues if they want to if they want to comment or ask a question or add anything to the presentation submission given by earlier by our Chinese colleague. So Dr. Bakar, over to you if you are there still. Well, my apologies on behalf of Dr. Bakar. I mean, you know, I mean, we all have assignment, and I'm thankful, and I would thank to him also that he took time and was with us, and but he has to go for this National Steering Committee meeting on issues of national importance. But as Rubab is taking minutes, and Ling Ling, you are also taking minutes. So sure, I mean, these minutes would be developed and finalized and will be shared with everybody. And Dr. Bukhar will know what discussion follow after he left. And then also, I would be sharing. Adnan told me that we would be getting after 1 hour or 2 hour link of this whole discussion, and so we would have a recording of this discussion, which we would be sharing with you, and also sharing with Bakar, so that everybody, so he knows that what discussion follows. All right, I think now we can, if there's nothing else on the feedback, then we can go to our last agenda item, which is a general discussion about the focus of our this today meeting in the light of our previous visit and experiences. So maybe I think by way of discussion, if I could start and give my comment, and then I would be asking Rubab and Mubin to give their additions and their inputs, and then Ling Ling, I would be handing over to you so that we get your suggestions on this focus area and your colleagues' comments. So if I may start, I think both China and Pakistan, I mean, they are great friends. They are interdependent also. I mean, the Pakistan needs the China for its economic development and improvement of its image. Excuse me. And also for this power sharing in South Asia. And then also China also needs Pakistan's support, most importantly for the sort of image which are being created by our Western countries and our developed countries. Some of them right now, even as we know, there are allegations and counter allegations on the origin of coronavirus. whether it was to what extent any country is responsible. And even we had a meeting like this with the ambassador of America in Pakistan, and I asked him that does he think this is the best time to talk about this sort of things and allegations and counter allegation and international inquiry. I mean, there is question of life and death, whether it is from coronavirus or from war or other things. So the whole focus should be addressing coronavirus. We can talk about this, what was the origin of this disease, and look into the allegations and counter allegations or this so-called international inquiry. So what I'm pointing out is that both countries need each other and support each other. Now then, also I think again I come back to connectivity, and every time I have a chance to talk to my Chinese colleagues and friends, this is one thing which I keep talking more and more and more, because I think this is the basic and this is the essential for our further future cooperation and for the betterment of our both countries and the people of both countries. And then in this regard, I mean, what we observe in Pakistan, and I don't know if the same observations in China also, that regarding the CPEC, most of the interaction, almost I think 85%, I stand corrected, and I can be corrected by my colleagues, but almost 85% or 90%, this interaction is government to government. Well, no problem with it. We understand the limitations and policies of each government, and you have to adjust the respective policies of respective government. But then, I mean, this should go further up. There should be some confidence building, so that we have interaction between business to business, and we have interaction between SMEs, the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. Similarly, we have interaction between research institution and think tanks and NGO. So I think this is one thing which is felt very much at our end, that this interaction is not as much as it should be, and basically, I mean, it should be reaching to the grassroots level. Because one very good thing about CPEC is that, I mean, it has taken the very deep friendship of Pakistan and China to grassroots level. Because if you go to the rural area, if you go to villages, there also people know about CPEC, and they know CPEC is an activity between China and Pakistan. So it has gone to grassroots level, but then the interaction at the grassroots level is lacking. And that can come only when we have more interaction beside government to government interaction. Government to government interaction can go on, but then it should be based on it. There should be filtering it down or coming it down to business interaction, and also to civil society interaction, and so on and so forth. Researchers interaction, research institution interaction. Then my other point is that, I mean, so many project activities, they are going on, and more are coming up. For instance, this renewable energies options, they are coming up, and this is very fine. It helps both sides, and it's very fine. But then the thing is that, I mean, for every new project, there should be a need assessment, and there should be a feasibility study. Now, let me explain this with a quick example. For instance, we have two options for renewable energies. We have we already have this coal-based energy, and then we have this solar energy and the wind energy, which is coming up. Now, there were in the beginning 9 energy projects which were based on coal. But then now they are reduced to five projects which are based on coal. The reason is that because the coal-based energy, for that the imported coal is needed, and this imported coal to run the coal-based project enhances the cost, and also it reduces the independence, and rather it makes dependent, because if we are running them on imported coal, uh, well, if for some reason the imported coal stop, the coal-based energy project will stop. And the other thing is also the way the terms of contract work, that I mean the payment of these coal-based energy plant were on full capacity. I mean a plant may have a capacity of 100 megawatt, but the need is 50 megawatt, but then the payment was still on 100 megawatt, whether you use it or whether you don't use it. So that also enhances the cost, and they reduce the number of coal-based plant from 9, now it is 5. Another, so no, again, why this has to be done? I mean, why, if there was a proper need assessment of such projects and a feasibility study of such projects, then you would not have needed this changeover, reducing it from 9 to 5. So this is what I mean, that there must be a need assessment, a feasibility study before a project is started. Now, same way, now we have two options: the wind energy and the solar energy as an alternative energy. Again we need a feasibility study and need assessment. Which one is better? For instance, in Pakistan, it is considered that the solar option is more expensive than the wind option, than the wind energy option. So there should be more attention, more investment to the wind energy projects. And again, there must be a need assessment. There must be a feasibility study before we decide which should be more and which should be less, or we give away one, just go for wind energy and don't go for solar energy, or maybe a mix of energy of both coal and wind and solar. So that is my second point, that I mean, at least the new projects and activities which are coming under CPEC, I mean, there must be very proper, thorough, with the involvement of the stakeholders, think tanks, and research organizations to do the need assessment and to do the feasibility study, which could be a sort of a joint activity of researchers from Pakistan and researchers from China, and including organizations like ACEF and also the SDPI. So that was my second point. Now my third point is, and that is with reference to what already we talked a little about, is the international criteria. I mean, for instance, I mean, both Pakistan and India, so I'm sorry, both Pakistan and China, they strongly support the green CPEC and the green FBR. Now, both strongly advocate that every activity should be green energy, be it energy or be it infrastructure. But then, I mean, what sort of environmental standards we are following? I've been asking this question, that for this CPEC projects and CPEC activities, are we following Chinese standard, Chinese environmental standards? Are we following Pakistan environmental standards? Or we are following the international environment standards? And I have never received an answer. So I mean, we must be very clear in deciding about the standards to our convenience and to our need, and then to see how much they are implemented and how much they are followed. And then also, I don't see much news about the post-operation activity. I mean, once a plant is in operation, our environment audit carried out to see whether it is being operated on the conditions on which it was agreed to be operated. Also, from ecological point of view and the public health point of view, and so on and so forth. So again, the third point I am making is that, I mean, we should be very, very clear what standards we are following vis-a-vis the development projects and activities under the CPEC. So I stop here, and I hand over to my colleagues if they want to add more. And please do add more to what I have said. There are so many aspects of so many things in CPEC and we are looking for the research collaboration and joint activities. So please give your suggestions about this. And first again to Rubab, and that will be followed by Mubin. Over to you, Rubab.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And agreeing to whatever you said, I really believe that being two independent entities from the same region, and also considering that how far have we come together, especially the new avenues that opened up by the current pandemic, that Pakistan and China, on whatever level it may be, has plenty of common grounds to team up and play together. As we had brainstorming sessions on the last visit of our Chinese friend to Pakistan. And this meeting adds up to the hopes of staying in touch and getting something out of these meetings for the common grounds and common goods of the both countries. So I really hope that these meetings are, as they are productive, I know, but there's something that we get out of it, this time at least. Thank you.
I would just like to add something. I'll be very brief to what Dr. Mahmood just said, especially regarding cooperation between our two nations, and especially CPEC. I would just like to put it out there that we need to start thinking a little bit towards the medium term. For example, there is a need for an addition to this whole Belt and Road Initiative. One key pillar to be thought on is the future and partnership on human development, I think that will lead to social and economic prosperity in the region. So far, there is some social development under CPEC, but not to the extent that is needed. Furthermore, I think that the Belt and Road Initiative has the potential to make development strategies more local, which is, of course, associated with 65% of the 169 targets underlying the 17 SDGs. So, with the help of these local development strategies and a broad range of local stakeholders, we can help combine the economic and social dimensions that can, in turn, of course, aid in empowering local societies. Furthermore, I would just like to add that uh, regarding to CPEC, social development and agriculture sector has already been discussed as a priority in CPEC. However, I think human development from a CPEC perspective has not been a priority so far. I think one interesting aspect on cooperation and collaboration between ACEF and SDPI could be that we could start working on some models to help with the government's limited capabilities. So the issue can be highlighted through both the political angle and the fiscal angle. Due to the immense fiscal pressure expected in the coming 2 years because of COVID-19. That is my take on the issue. Over.
Yeah, thanks, Mubin and Rubab, for your brief addition. Ling Ling, just let me add two more comments before I hand over to you and your colleagues. One is that I mean this with regard to with regard to this collaboration more than the government and beside the business to business. I mean, mostly again, when it is business to business, it is public sector to public sector. It is not private sector to private sector. So what I want to add further is that this interaction, this connectivity should also be between private sector between private sector to private sector in Pakistan and in China. And then again, I mean, there is there are one or two more points, but I think I would stop here, and I would come back after I hear from your side and from you. Over to you, Ling Ling.
Okay, thanks, Mahmoud, and other colleagues from as DBI side. Yeah, echo to Mahmoud what you have said, and also Xiaoyi has mentioned that yeah, we could do more on the kind of environmental impact assessment in the future. And as also, I think I remember that you also mentioned ACEF could help kind of do the connective work because now ACEF as kind of nationwide NGO, we are kind of quite an important bridge between between the NGOs, the think tanks, and the governments in China, and also at the international levels. As you may now know, ACEF concerning the CPEC, concerning the Belt and the Roads. Actually, we are member of Silk Road NGO Cooperation Network, a member of the China Council for International Cooperation on Environment and Development, and also we are maybe not in what we could say. We will also soon become member of the Belt and Road Green Development International Union. Yeah, I think we ACEF is willing to play the bridge between China and Pakistan, not only at the governmental levels, but also at the level of the NGOs or could say the public levels. Yeah, this is what we want to express to you for our future collaborations. And I think maybe different from your perspective, Mahmoud, and also echo to Mobin's suggestions for the future. So actually, we are considering what ACEF could do with SDPI, even with more both Chinese NGOs and the Pakistani NGOs. How about we kind of we could say dig deeply about the local needs or difficulties. For example, at Pakistan, we want to know more about the enterprises, about their current status. For example, how heavily impacted or affected by the coming COVID-19, and how about the voices of the people of the local communities, the NGOs, and do we have any kind of a gap of communications? I think this is also an important part for our organizations to do. Yeah, this is I think it is quite important. And as also like you have mentioned, how about we do kind of industrial kind of matchmaking? Yeah, we bring the enterprises of the two countries together on technology transfer, yeah, and to contribute to the economic growth, as well as we know that the environmental protection or green development. Though we know this is maybe a tough time for both sides, but this is just the significance for us to explore. And also we hope that, for example, a kind of deeper needs of those the local stakeholders of Pakistan. How about we provide a kind of capacity buildings, being in both technologies and the policies, for example, also in developing the standards. Yeah. So we hope to hear more from you, and we hope that this could be a very start of our two sides for this time between ACEF and SDPI, but later we involve more and more colleagues from other organizations to promote this. Yeah. So over, and I hope to hear more comments on this and feedback.
Yeah, Mahmoud, I fully agree with Lingling. She just stressed that maybe you organization as a think tank has done a series of research and get the first-hand information about local needs, and maybe you especially the needs from local enterprises and you can share with us this specific information, and we can think whether or not we can promote the match between two sides. Also, if you have some training needs or want to launch the mutual discussing or experience sharing, we can work together to on this. Yes, that's my point. Thank you.
Yeah, including the info sharing, information sharing. Yeah, we know that for either side of us, yeah, we both want more information from the other countries to contribute to our work on green development. Yeah, and one more thing, sorry. Yeah, also the current difficulties maybe you have mentioned that, yeah, the current difficulties to what could say to promote the renewable energy at the current time, or even how long you will expect, yeah, this will just move on as we have once expected. And how about the current difficulties, and how about the solutions from our side?
Thanks so much, Lingling, you and your colleagues, and for your suggestions. I think as I and Lingling agree earlier that this is just a informal, personal, broad sort of meeting and discussions, and I think a lot of ideas and thoughts has come out of it. So I think from here we can move on to very specific focus activity. What very specifically we want to work on. For instance, very useful, valuable suggestion is given that I mean this industrial matchmaking. But again, you need information at the Pakistan side as well as at the Chinese side. So maybe this is something which we can start. And the other which I always keep promoting and mentioning my own area of research work is environment impact assessment, because really I don't feel very happy when I see my research and it is not complete, because I don't have information about the Chinese cities or units or whatever information, like the forest the forest cover, and the information like the industry and so on and so forth. So if that information need to be given. So I think linking, we should come out now with very specific activity, very specific project what we want to do, so that both sides can work on it. And then also this information exchange. Yes, we would be very happy to share whatever research we have done. It is already there on the website also. And also, if you look at our publication list at the website, please ask any publication you want, and we would share that with you. We would share that with you. And then also, lastly, I mean, we should have basically what I feel is that I mean our role could be that of a bridge, bringing people together, bringing activities together, so on and so forth. So we should look at this bridging role. So I stop here, and I think I would be requesting you for the last item of thanks from your side, and then from our side, I request Rubab. Rubab, you would be saying, well, giving vote of thanks, and you would be thanking the way you want to. So first, Ling Ling, over to you. for the thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I think thanks to you all, and I think echo to what you have said, what Mahmoud has said. I think first we could first set up a kind of a communication mechanism. For example, we kind of regularly could say meeting between our staff every maybe bi-monthly or maybe 2 months or 3 months, or just a kind of regular communication mechanism, or even a kind of understanding of memoriams. Yes, but I think this is a good start, and hope that later we will involve more colleagues from other organizations joining us to work together. And I'd like to Xiaoyi, so would you like to say something at the very end?
I just want to say thank you for you all for the great support to us, and I'm really looking forward to our future communication and cooperation. As maybe Ling just mentioned, we can sign some MOU or some other documents. Also, we can establish the fixed communication mechanism to exchange information regularly. Maybe every 3 months or every 6 months, we can keep in touch together and to deepen our cooperation as well. Thank you.
Okay, this is great. I mean, this idea of a minute of understanding or MOU. So definitely, I mean, I can talk about this MOU, your expression of interest with my colleagues and with my research and fellow research council, who is the decision-making body. So I can start the discussion at my end, and maybe Ling, you can start the discussion at your end for the MOU. And if both sides agree for an MOU, then I can work on the text. What should be the terms and conditions in the MOU, and I can share the draft with my colleagues first, so that they finalize it, and then I can send the MOU draft to you for your colleagues and for your organization to look at it. I'm sorry it's going to be in English, but of course you would be able to get it explain to your colleagues what is this MOU. But I very much appreciate your idea of this MOU, and I'm sure my colleagues and SDPI would be very happy to have an MOU with ACEF. So, but at the moment, I will start discussion about it with my colleagues, and Ling, you would start discussion about it with your colleagues and with your senior people. So if both sides agree that yes, we like to have an MOU, then I can work on the draft, as I said, and then that I share with you. I stop here and I hand over to Rubab for vote of thanks and thank you. Rubab, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to join Dr. Khwaja, Dr. Waqar, Mubin, and other group members of SDPI in thanking our friends from China for joining the meeting and to invest their time in discussing future possibility of working together. And like other colleagues, very much hopeful for this cooperation, and especially MOU to go as far as our friendship with China is. So thank you so much for joining in.